What's up, everyone? It's your host, Ghost, coming to you live with another wonderful video. How is everyone doing today? I'm doing well myself, kind of. I'm a little sick. I actually didn't think I was going to do a show today. But fortunately, I am here and able to do one. I'm extremely sick, and it fucking sucks. Well, not really. I'm feeling better now. So, uh, my wife's still terribly sick, which is why I didn't have a show yesterday. Um, because I could neither record on Sunday nor do a show in the morning, so I really didn't have an option. I was busy taking care of the kids while she was sick, so I was unable to get anything done. Let's see. Mm, Trying to think. I don't think I have anything of note to bring up, so we'll just continue on with our day. Um, yeah, yeah, I can't think of anything I need to get into. Um, Yeah, whatever. Um, some housekeeping. Follow me on X at official W Ghost. Best way to find out when I go live and what I'm up to. Getting some heated, well, not really heated on my part, but heated on their part. Twitter debates here and there. Which I guess I don't repost them or anything. So you can't really. I don't know. Maybe you can. I don't fucking know. I don't care. Um, but follow me there. Rumble.com/. Oh, also on X, you can see me live as well. You can watch me live if you're on X as well. Rumble.com/. With Ghost is the Rumble. So, regardless where you're watching, make sure you come over to Rumble and follow me there. Rumble is the last free speech, uh, last bastion of free speech there is. More better than X. YouTube.com/. With Ghost. And then twitch.tv/official with Ghost. Those are my various channels you can check out. Um, and then the gaming channels. I haven't been gaming. Again, I've been busy and my wife's been sick for a bit. So I've had those things I need to do. Um, we'll try and get back into some gaming here pretty soon, hopefully. I think I'm going to stop playing with my Helldivers and go and play some Ghosts of Tsushima. Because of the controversy with the Assassin's Creed Shadow, just because I can. So yeah. But the gaming channels are Gaming with Ghost on Rumble and at Official Gaming with Ghost on YouTube, Twitch, and of course X are the same. So yeah. I think that's all I got for some housekeeping. So I guess we'll get into the show itself. Bloody hell. Hold on. Hold on. Okay, hold on. All right, there we go. Sorry, took a second. To get everything I needed. So this is day 19 of the Trump trial, and so we will check out and see what is up. Oh, hold on. Shit has decided to go wonky on me. God damn it. There we go. If you message me on X while I'm doing my show, I'll hopefully see him. I don't know. I got it up on my phone currently. But I don't know. I'll see him. I don't know why. I think I have to reset my whole goddamn thing. But X is not popping up on my. Oh wait, actually, forgot. It's not holding up on here, but I can do. Just remembered. I can go on Google and do it because it'll pop up on my Google for some reason, but it won't pop up on my. on my Edge thing for whatever fucking reason. So, sorry, I just remembered that on X it does. Let me do it here. No, there we go. Wonderful. There we go. Now we're good to go. All right, never mind. I should be able to see anything you send me now. All right, let's get into it. All right, so Judge is back on the bench. Good morning, Mr. Trump. As you know, there are a couple of issues that came up over the weekend. I wanted to address them before the jury got here. Judge says he expects closing arguments will be next Tuesday. It's become apparent we're not going to be able to sum up tomorrow, he says. It was either have a long break now or have a long break then, and unfortunately, the calendar is what it is. But lawyers for both sides are beginning today's proceedings by debating about an email from Robert Costello's associate to Conan after Conan's first meeting with Costello. Prosecutors are objecting to introducing it into evidence. Blanche says the email that speaks positively about Cohen's first meeting with Costello impeaches Cohen's testimony that he didn't like Costello after their first meeting and didn't want to retain him. Hoffinger says this doesn't disclose what's in Cohen's mind because it's an opinion from Jeffrey Kitoran about the initial meeting, not Conan. That's true. I can agree with that. Just because someone else says the meeting went fine doesn't really show what Conan was thinking. If it was an email from Conan to them and him saying, "Oh, I think this was great, everything was great," that would be one thing. The judge obviously says he will not allow the email into evidence because it doesn't say anything about Conan's state of mind. Move on to regarding an expert witness. That's not important. Judge said that allowing an FEC commission expert to testify on the additional subjects that Trump's lawyers are seeking would lead to a battle of the experts, which would only confuse and not assist the jury. The jury would hear legal instructions from 3 different people. As Bove alluded to, there is no question this would result in a battle of the experts and would only serve to confuse, not assist the jury, the judge said. Murch also cited Manhattan federal judge Louis Kaplan, ruling barring the same expert from testifying to similar topics at the Sam Bankman-Fried trial. I direct you to page 3 of my decision. Merton said, reiterating that Brad Smith could testify as to what the FEC is, its purpose, background, what laws, if any, FEC is responsible for enforcing, and general definitions and terms that related to this case, including contributions and expenditure. Let's see. Both argued the information the defense wants to get into the record through their campaign finance expert is absolutely critical to the jury understanding the allegations in this case. Both also said, we're restricted in what Mr. Smith can say. Frankly, Mr. Smith read the text of those statutory definitions and not going to help the jury grapple the issues that these charges present. Bove is asking Merchant if he can give a sense of how he plans to instruct the jury on the campaign finance issues they want the expert witness to testify to. Merchant says you must remember that people are not required to prove these offenses beyond a reasonable doubt, and therefore that reduces the need of burden and to find every term or every phrase. Wait, what? Is this not a criminal trial? This is a criminal trial, so it's beyond a reasonable doubt. That doesn't make any sense. This is a criminal trial, right? This isn't a civil trial. This is a criminal trial, right? Yeah, felony felony counts. So yeah, this is a criminal trial. So yeah, it is up to the people to prove these offenses beyond a reasonable doubt. That's the whole point of a criminal trial. Maybe CNN fucked this up, but I don't. I think that's fairly incorrect. I do have to be on these offenses beyond a reasonable doubt. Okay. Judge says he doesn't see how the expert witness can testify to issues without invoking the law and creating the issues Merchant has already detailed. Vo said he'd like to enlist slide no whatever for the expert witness a definition for a purpose of influencing the election as it pertains to several campaign finance terms like expenditure. A judge ruling presently does not allow them to touch on a definition of influencing the election if the expert testifies. I mean, again, that's not really the charge, though. I don't think the defense needs to get into this because that's not a charge. The charge is falsifying business documents. It's not influencing an election. So I don't think it's really necessary, but whatever. For months that what my position would be, based on his pretrial ruling on this issue months ago. Judge told Trump's attorneys with regard to the expert they want to testify. Both jumped to interrupt him, and Merchant said, smiling, "Just relax." Both crossed his hands, crossed his chest apologetically, smiling back at the judge as the Merchant continues speaking. "I'm going to be consistent with my earlier ruling," Merchant said. Merchant now tells Bo, "Make me offer a proof as to what he would say in response, and I'll be in a better position to determine if it's an appropriate response or not." Colangelo said, "As the court has just said, the judge will and should charge on appropriate legal definitions. Defense is not entitled to have an expert front end that process." Quick break, back in session. Cohen's back on stand. Blanche starts off his questioning this morning. Asked Cohen, since that time until right now, how many reporters have you talked to about what happened last week? Cohen says, "I didn't speak to reporters about what happened last week. I've spoken to." Blanche follows up. Cohen says, I've spoken to reporters who just called to say hello, to see how I'm doing, to check in, but I did not talk about this case." Really? Reporters just called in to ask you, "Hey, how's it going?" Really? That's a bullshit. Blanche pushes it further, asking Cohen to confirm the reporters just greeted you and asked how you're doing. Didn't ask you at all about this case? Correct. Cohen says, "That's bullshit. That's bullshit if I ever heard it." Blanche asked Cohen how many times he's met with prosecutors this year. Cohen puts the number at more than a dozen. Most recently last week before he took the stand. When pressed by Blanche, Cohen said it was closer to 20 times. Cohen said he heard several questions from prosecutor Hoffinger for the first time during the direct examination last Monday and Tuesday. Blanche now asked about other prep Cohen has done for congressional testimony, including the Dan Goldman, former prosecutor turned investigator for the House during the 2019 impeachment of Trump, who is now a New York congressman. Cohen confirmed he met with Goldman ahead of his 2019 congressional testimony. Blanche is now focusing on October 2016. You agree with me that you had a lot going on, both in your personal life and with President Trump in those first few weeks. Blanche asked, "Yes, sir," Cohen has said. Cohen has agreed that he was dealing with a potential restructuring of his taxi medallion business, a sale of investment with his brother, working on a national diversity coalition for Trump, and obtaining an endorsement from the Martin Luther King Jr. family. So apparently this is relevant because, all this stuff here happened. The Access Hollywood got released. And then also in October, he paid the $130K to her attorney. So Blanche asked whether Cohen worked with Pecker in October 2016, and about another matter, litigation involving attorney Mark Kazowitz. Kazowitz? Correct, Conan says. Blanche asks if he remembered right around October 26th, whether Conan was also helping Tiffany Trump with potential extortion issues over photographs. Conan confirms. Blanche and Conan are getting into a back and forth exchange about a business opportunity Conan was working for in October 2016, which Blanche says involves taxi medallions, but Conan says it's related to a mortgage in Florida. Blanche then walks through the other business Conan had going on during the time that the hush money payment occurred in October 2016. Blanche is now turning to the litigation involving Pecker and iPayments. Litigation was filed September 30th, 2016. Conan said he doesn't recall the specifics of the litigation. Conan said he worked to try and help settle the litigation because he was friends with everyone. You were also exploring getting a job at AI Payments, Blanche asked. It was floated. Yes, sir. Cold down here. Let's see. Blanche cites 2016 when Conan made the payments to Daniel's lawyer. You talked multiple times that day with folks associated with Dr. King's statement and the fact that she was now going to support President Trump, Blanche asked. Conan made 2 calls to Trump the morning of October 26th around 8:30 a.m. ET. The first call was at 8:26 a.m. ET and lasted 3 minutes and 1 second. Second call was 8:34 a.m. ET and lasted 1 minute and 28 seconds. So this is probably him getting into, a plausible explanation of why else he would call him that day instead of telling him, oh, the Daniel stuff is all taken care of. It's a plausible explanation. Blanche is now asking Conan of his recollection of what the former president was up to October 26th. He said he doesn't remember. Do you remember that morning that Trump was going to sit down and do an interview with ABC right after 9 a.m. ET? Does that ring a bell? Blanche asked. No, sir, Conan said. Blanche tried to use a document to support this, but it was sustained and not allowed. The objection was sustained and not allowed. Blanche questioned Conan if he still maintains that he only spoke to Trump on the phone October 26th about the Daniels issue. Conan says yes, because it was important to me. Okay. Blanche also asked if the Access Hollywood tape fallout was still an issue and if Trump was speaking to the media, that Conan might have spoken with Trump about that. My recollection is that I was speaking to him about Daniels because what he tasked me to take care of, and that's what I've been working on, Conan replied. Blanche is walking Conan through the calculations to reach the 420K he said he was paid in 2017. Conan testified earlier in the trial that he worked on the payment with former Trump organization CFO Alan Weisselberg. You were shortened 100K on your bonus that year, Blanche asked. That's correct. Conan said, confirming he normally got 150K as an annual bonus around the holidays. So the 50K that you got back from Red Finch, you only paid the Red Finch owner 20K. Is that right? Yes, sir, Conan said. Blanche is now walking Conan through how he said the 20K to Red Finch owner in cash. Conan confirmed he withdrew the money over a couple of days. I just didn't want to take out 20K at once, Conan said. I don't recall if it was exactly 20K. Conan added to clarify. Conan said that Red Finch wanted the full payment of 50K, but they accepted the money they received. So you stole from the Trump organization, Blanche asked, noting Conan was reimbursed 100K. Yes, sir. Conan said in response, you didn't just steal the 30K because it grossed up. It was 60K, Blanche asked. Yes, sir, Conan said. Conan agreed he has told multiple prosecutors about the district attorney's office about it. Did you ever have to plead guilty of grand larceny? To larceny? No, sir, Conan said. Let's see. Blanche walks Conan through the reimbursement of the alleged hush money payment. Trump is not paying attention. Blah blah. You did steal from the Trump organization based on the expected reimbursement from Red Finch. Yes, sir, Conan says. To cover up this 130K payment, you lied to Weiselberg about how much you needed for Red Finch. Blanche has corrected, Conan says. So again, proving that this guy just lies all the time. All right, so the conversation that you had with Weiselberg about the retainer agreement and the fact that there would not be one all took place in the meeting you had, along with the meeting with Trump. Yes, sir, Conan said. Sorry. If you would have had one, would it have been between you and your client? Blanche asked. Correct. Who would that have been? Blanche asked. Mr. Trump, Conan said. Blanche is now showing emails to Conan from Weiselberg on January 31st of 2017 with the subject note and mortgage modified agreement for Trump Park Avenue condominiums. Thank you. You never stopped on for a bro hug anyway. Please prepare the agreement discussed so we can pay you monthly, Weiselberg wrote. Blanche pulled up an email from Weiselberg to Jeff McConney, noting that the checks were signed off by Donald Donald Jr. and Eric Trump. He asked why they signed them and not former President Trump. Because they were the trustees, Conan said. Conan confirmed that, oh God, man. Blanche confirmed with Conan that his email signature after Trump took office announced his title in every message he sent is always said personal attorney to President Donald Trump. His job changed, meaning President Trump's job changed. Yours didn't, correct? You told everyone that was happening, correct? Not everyone, but I was certainly proud of the role. I announced it, confirmed on follow-up questions that he told TMZ, New York Times, and when he went on Sean Hannity's show to announce it. Jury is being shown Conan's goodbye email to Trump Organization, dated January 27th of 2017. In the email, Conan announced his new role as Trump's personal secretary or attorney, and noted he'd no longer be working with them at Trump Tower. Blanche asked whether Conan continued representing Trump in legal matters after moving into his new role. You had a matter with Mark Kowitsitz representing Trump. Blanche asked. Yes, sir, Conan said. Blanche is asking whether Conan helped figure out how to serve subpoenas on government agencies like the State Department. He showed Conan an email that Trump needed to look at. Blanche noted that Trump initially appointed Kowitsitz as an attorney to handle the Mueller investigation. Blanche asked if Conan played a role in that. No, sir, Conan says. Blanche asked if Conan was happy, sad, or indifferent about the initial Kowitsitz hire. Conan said probably happy because he had a good relationship with him. Bullshit, you weren't happy. You were probably pissed the fuck off because Trump appointed someone else as an attorney, not you. Conan is being asked about the work he's done for Melania Trump. Conan says he met with Melania Trump in New York in March and April of 2017 over legal matters. Blanche confirms with Conan they helped Melania Trump with her Madame Tussauds negotiations in February, March, and April 2015. Blanche says that these were all things the lawyers would do for their client. Your job was being Trump's lawyer, correct? Blanche asks. Yes, sir, Conan says. Blanche walked through the payments Conan received again, asking how much were you paid directly by Trump in 2017? 9 checks. Conan says $35K a piece. Conan confirmed the other 2 checks came from the trust. You continue to get paid all 12 months. Blanche asks. Yes, sir, Conan says. Blanche is moving on to Michael Cohen's other consulting work. Cohen said he made 44 mil in 2017 from 6 other clients. Conan confirmed he was paid $50K monthly for a year by AT&T while they were trying to acquire Time Warner. Blanche confirms Conan received $600K in all from AT&T, and there's nothing wrong with that, correct? Conan says. Conan stops for a moment before saying, "I don't believe so." It was Mr. Trump who introduced the CEO of AT&T to me, and that's how I ended up retaining them as a client. Blanche said that's not what he asked. He wanted to know if Conan ever told Trump about the 6 consulting clients. I did not specifically tell Trump that. No, Conan says. Blanche asked if Trump was frustrated when he eventually found out about Conan consulting agreement with AT&T. Merchant sustained an objection to this question. So I'm just reading through this. So yeah, I mean, it is a bomb that dropped during the middle of Cross that Conan stole from the Trump organization. It's kind of continuing to show he's not a trustworthy person. Blanche continues to review Conan over legal work. Conan said he was paid 1.2 mil from Novartis. Conan agreed. He spoke with them about 6 times. Blanche asked if the 200K communication correct. There were there clients that you started talking to, but ultimately didn't agree to work with. Blanche asked. Yes, sir. Happened quite often, Conan said. Blanche also asked about KNI, Korean Aerospace Industry, where Conan had a deal to be paid 100K a month for a year. Conan said it ended after 6 or 7 months. He added that he had approximately a dozen communications with the company. Blanche also walked through the other companies he consulted for in 2017, including BTA Bank, who paid him for 2 to 3 months. He says that a client he met through Trump at Mar-a-Lago looking for help to restart a nuclear facility. Blanche is now asking about 2018, when the Daniels payment became public. He told multiple people when it first leaked that Trump knew nothing about the payment, correct? Yes, Conan confirmed that was correct. Blanche asked, "You even called Melania, the first lady, and told her that Trump didn't know about it." Conan said he told the New York Times Maggie Haberman on the record that Trump was not aware of the payment at the time. Okay, so so again, this is a habit of, is he telling the truth now, or was he telling the truth then? When was he lying? Again, the lies that Conan continues to tell more and more. I mean, it'd be one thing if this was the one lie he told. That'd be one thing. But he's told multiple lies. He's admitted that he stole from the Trump organization. This guy's a scumbag, and his credibility is shot to shit. I guaranteed after they wrap up, because I think Conan finish up, they're going to ask for a dismissal of charges or whatever it's fucking called. And his credibility is going to be, man, I'm fucking sick as fuck. His credibility is going to be, shot to shit. But I guarantee the judge isn't going to do anything. Even though, let's be honest, the reason why this case should be dismissed is because their entire case resolves around Conan's testifying that these invoices were false and that there was no retainer agreement. They have no other evidence, no one else saying that there was no retainer agreement that I'm aware of. They have no other evidence that Trump wasn't paying him for legal services. Like he says, he's done a couple work. But again, there's no, again, I don't know how retainer agreements work. I don't know if you'll get paid even if you're not doing work. Like if you're just retaining an attorney for maybe future work, they'll be there and come work for you. I think that's how retainer agreements work. But again, there's no other evidence that that there was not a retainer agreement in place besides besides Cohen's word. Uh, Conan's claiming that he was being reimbursed through that so-called 420K, but he's admitting that he lied and he, stole uh, money from Trump organization for reimbursement for Red Finch. So there's actually no actual proof except Conan's word that this was not a retainer agreement, because you don't need something on paper for a retainer agreement. And again, I swear. Let me see if I can Google this. Oh, okay. Yeah, so here we go. Uh, yeah, okay. So here's let's see, hold on. So there's flat fees, there's retainers, and true retainers. So a retainer is an attorney may require that a client advance money for anticipated legal services and costs, but any unearned funds must be returned to a client on the determination of the relationship. Uh, an attorney can't charge a non-refundable retainer for legal services to be rendered. A true retainer is money paid by a client to ensure an attorney's availability over a given period of time. It is not payment for work to be done. It is so the attorney is available to take care of whatever problem the client might have. So there we go. So the argument could be that Trump was paying a true retainer. Uh, the Trump team can make an argument that Trump was paying a true retainer, and so although he's done like a little legal service here and there, the true retainer would be you know um, would be what Conan was being paid just for him to be available during this period of time. And the argument again for why it was marked legal services. I mean, a retainer is kind of legal service without actually doing legal services, but they already explained it like it's an old system. You can't really customize it. And the invoices could, yeah, that's how the invoices work, and the checks were made out. There we go. But yeah, here we go. Here, back to this is so again, jury has to decide: is he lying? Was he lying then, or is he lying now? Blanche is going through a conversation Conan had with a friend who was in jail in New York, asking whether he insisted to the friend that Trump knew nothing about the payment to Daniels. I don't recall specifically saying that, but it would have been what I would have said at the time. Conan agreed that he recorded multiple conversations with reporters telling them that Trump knew nothing about the payment. You said it to family, correct? Conan said. Blanche asked if Conan recalled telling one reporter, "Your wife and kids have just found out 2 weeks earlier." Conan said he doesn't remember, but he wouldn't be surprised if he said that at the time. Blanche asked Conan if before April 9th, when the FBI raided his office and residence, he had told anyone who asked that Trump knew nothing about the payments at the time, correct? That's what I said. Yes, Conan says. So here we go. So we got another, Conan's admitting that, At the time, Trump said nothing, but it was only after the FBI raided his house he began telling the truth. I mean, do you really believe him? Blanche asked Cohen to confirm he then met with uh, Bob Costello on April 17th to discuss representing him. Cohen pushed back and said, I received communications from Jeffrey Kintron asking to set up a meeting with him and Bob Costello in order to discuss possible representation of him. Blanche asked if he confirmed, though, that they met on April 17th on Conan's hotel where he was living at the time. Yes, they came to me, Conan said. Blanche said he spoke with Conan 10 times on the phone, maybe a few more. Blanche entered into evidence at an email Costello sent Conan on April 23rd of 2018. I spoke with the person you asked me to, and he said that he would find out exactly how the matter ended up in the SDNY, and particularly who in main justice approved this. Conan said the person he wanted to speak to was Rudy Giuliani. Blanche pointed out that it was Conan who was asking Costello to go to Giuliani for information. Last week, Conan kept saying that Costello was the one who was trying to hint at that Costello was like, oh, hey, you can talk to Giuliani through me. But it was Conan who initially asked Costello to go to Giuliani for information. Blanche is bringing up more emails Conan exchanged with Bob Costello. He wrote to Costello on May 15, 2018. As I've stated in the past, when the time comes, and now is not the right time, we will advance our conversations regarding this issue. Here are too many hands right now, all with varied viewpoints and ideas, Conan wrote. You can always reach out to me directly, but under no circumstance do I want anyone communicating on my behalf with anyone else. The email continued. Costello responded to Conan on May 16th, included this email saying, I will not pester you. If you want to talk, you know how to reach Jeff or myself. Blanche asked whether it would surprise Conan that he spoke to Costello for more than 9 hours over the course of a few months. No, sir, Conan said. So would it surprise you to learn that you actually communicated on the phone, either you calling Mr. Costello or Mr. Costello calling you 75 times? Blanche asked. Seems excessive, but long pause possible, Conan said. Blanche asked Conan who initiated more phone calls at the time, Costello or himself. Conan said, to the best of his recollection, Costello reached out more than he did. Conan said he also met with Costello, I believe, once or twice in person. Blanche asked Conan to confirm, even though he didn't sign a retainer agreement with Bob Costello, it didn't mean that those phone calls were privileged, right? Conan says. Conan agreed the communication were privileged because of anticipation of potential representation. Blanche showed more emails between Costello and Rudy Giuliani, including from April 2018, when Costello wrote that Giuliani had joined Trump's legal team, and he said his relationship with him could be very useful for you. In response, Costello wrote, great news for Rudy. I know I will call. I have been working with lawyers all day and just now coming up for air. I will try you tomorrow. Blanche turns to the YouTube video Costello shared with Conan, which prosecutors focused on last week. Blanche turns to another email Conan sent in response to Costello. On June 14, 2018, Conan wrote to Costello, since we were sharing this morning, they are again on a bad path. Blanche follows up and asks Conan in court, you were talking about Trump and his team trying to discredit you, correct? Correct. Conan says the article Conan was sharing in the email to Costello was headlined, Trump's campaign to discredit Conan is already underway. Blanche is walking Conan through a series of messages he exchanged with Bob Costello. Here are some of those messages. Email from Costello to Conan on June 28, 2018. The answer about why they haven't brought an additional challenge, Mueller, his investigation and the Conan referral, and investigation based upon the findings of the IG Hortz report. I just saw your tweet and then the outrage response from Tom Arnold, you should buy that guy's credibility with his own text messages. How dare he say 2 lines redacted? Blanche asks us whether these were the type of messages consistent with his interactions with Costello. Conan agreed that's fair. On the same day, Costello wrote to Conan, I met with my friend, and I have one answer of you and have conveyed all your expressed concerns to him for transmission to his client. My friend is traveling to Europe at 5 p.m. tonight, so I cannot tell you exactly when your concerns will be relayed. If you want to give me a call, Conan responded later, not sure what concerns other than non-payment I expressed to you, but thanks either way for your assistance in speaking to your friend. Sorry, I know I sound out of breath because I'm fucking sick as hell. And I think it's fucking up my lungs as well. I'm also a fat fuck, but I don't think that has anything to do with it. Blanche has shown the jury another email with Conan to Costello, asking him to talk to Rudy Giuliani about the Trump board not paying his current attorneys, McDermott, Will, and Emery. There are significant invoices that have been sent to McDermott, Will, and Emery to the Trump org for the payment, and the payments have not been made in accordance with the own invoices, Conan explained. Conan confirmed to Blanche that this is around the time that his relationship with Costello ends. Did you stop making money when you pled guilty in 2018? Blanche asked. Conan confirmed this, referring to the time he was Trump's personal attorney and when he made money consulting. Blanche asked if that was the most money ever made in an 18-month period. Conan said no, and after a pause said there was a time he made more than $5 million in a similar time frame. In between the time he pled guilty and the time he wrote his book, Blanche asked if Conan didn't have any income. Correct, Conan said. Conan says since the fall of 2020, he's made about $4.4 million for podcasts and books. He says he made he's made about $1 million in his 2 podcasts. He adds that he earned about $3.4 million from the books which he testified to previously. Blanche is now asking Conan is pitching a TV show about his life. Conan says there is a TV show, but he's not pitching it personally. Why would anyone want to watch a TV show about him? Like, seriously. Blanche asks whether Conan would expect to make money if the TV show is picked up. Has it been picked up? Conan says. Blanche asks. Conan confirms it has not been picked up. Court takes a short break. Back in session. After returning from the short break, Blanche continues to ask Conan about the TV show pitched about his life. Conan said he worked about 3 months to help pitch the show to The Fixer. Conan added that he worked on the show 7 to 8 months ago after it was shot. Again, like, who would want to watch a show about this dude? Like, seriously. Conan is asked about a run for Congress. Is that true? Blanche asks, yes, sir. Really? Who's going to vote for this guy? Conan confirmed he told a reporter one of the reasons he should run for Congress is he's got the best name recognition out there. My name recognition is because of the journey I've been on. It's affiliated with Mr. Trump. Yes, not because of Mr. Trump, Conan said. Your journey has been nearly daily attacked on Trump, at least since 2020, Conan asked. Sure, Conan asked. Blanche asked to answer yes or no. Not sure. Yes, sir, Conan says. Blanche went on to ask Conan a series of questions confirming Trump's trust in Conan. Blanche is revisiting the $420K payment to Conan. Conan agrees $150K is the Daniels payment and what he paid to Red Finch. You testified that Mr. Weisberg told you that being grossed up because you're in a 50% tax bracket, Blanche asked. Correct, Conan says. Hoffinger objected, after which attorneys approached the bench for a sidebar. Excuse me. You have a financial interest in the outcome of this case, Blanche asked. Yes, sir, Conan said. As this exchange has happened, I don't care. I don't really care about what Trump is doing and all that shit. It's not important because if Trump's convicted, that would benefit you personally, financially. No, sir. Right? Blanche asked, no, sir, Conan said. Conan said, I talk about it on my podcast. I talk about it on TikTok, and they make money. And that's how I was viewing your question. Whether Trump is ultimately determined innocent or guilty is not going to affect whether I speak about it or not. Blanche continues to press Conan on whether it would benefit him financially if Trump is found guilty. It's better if he's not for me, because it gives you more to talk about in the future, Conan says. Blanche confirmed that Conan that he'd like to get revenge on Trump and said revenge is best served cold. Conan confirms he meant what he said on the podcast and now again in court. Is it true you lie out of loyalty, correct? Blanche asked. Yes, sir, Conan responded. And that's the end of cross-examination. I think they should have it's like, you lie when it personally affects you, correct? And it was said yes. So I think that would have been it, not you lie out of loyalty, correct? But I guess if they're trying to show that he has loyalty to the prosecution, that could be it. All right, now redirect. Conan testimony. So Hoffinger corrects Conan's testimony when he said he lied to Congress in 2019. Conan says he lied in 2017, not in 2019. Okay, that's not important. Hoffinger asked Conan if it was possible he talked to Trump about the Stormy Daniels issue on October 2016, as well as other matters proposed by the defense by Blanche on cross-examination. Conan confirms. Hoffinger notes that the counsel brought up how busy he was in October 16, asking if he was busy all the time. Conan confirms he was. Were you too busy in October 2016 to finalize Daniels' payoff with Mr. Trump? No, ma'am, Conan says, were you too busy to get his approval to make that payment payoff? Hoffinger asks, no, ma'am. Well, I mean, he apparently was too busy because he delayed it so long. Okay, so that's not mine. Conan asked if he ever sent Weisselberg retainer agreement. No, ma'am, because it's not legal work that was paid for. There's no representation agreement within which to send, Conan explained. Hoffinger followed up asking if the $420K owed as a reimbursement had anything to do with a retainer agreement. No, ma'am. What proof do you have other than your word? Again, this is all Conan's word. Conan says no. Conan says no. So that's not proof. No, ma'am, Conan said. Hoffinger asked if he ever paid or billed Trump for the work he did for him or Melania. Trump. No, ma'am, Conan said. She also asked if the 420 he was paid in 2016 covered any of that work. No, ma'am. Again, this is all what Conan's saying. There's no proof of that at all. Hoffinger asked Conan what Red Finch did for Trump. Conan said Trump was polling low in CNNBC poll, and it upset him. Conan said he had come to my office, bribed me a sheet of paper that showed it. I reached out to Red Finch, who assured me he was able to go through the acquisition of IP addresses to create an algorithm that would ensure Trump would rise significantly into this poll. Conan added. Conan said Trump wanted to be number one in the poll, but after Red Finch work, he ended up at 9. Former Trump fixers said despite cheating, Trump felt he didn't get his money worth for the work. Conan added that Trump did not pay Red Finch because CNNBC ended up not moving forward with this poll. So he didn't feel he had gotten the benefit of the service they had provided. Conan asked why he took $50K payback from Weisselberg for Red Finch, even though he only paid the guy $20K. For a long time, I'd been telling him about the $50K so that I could collect it for the president of Red Finch. I was angered because of the reduction of the bonus, and so it felt like it was almost self-help. I wasn't going to let him have the benefit of this as well. I wasn't going to correct the conversation I was having with Alan about it. I had not only protected him to the best that I could, but I had also laid out money to Red Finch a year and a half earlier, and again $130K, and to have my bonus cut by 2/3 was very upsetting to say the least. But you admitted on cross that it was wrong. It was, Conan said, and you did it out of revenge. You have a history of taking revenge out on Trump. Returning to your letter, Conan's attorney sent the FEC in 2018 on the Daniels payment. Conan had testified on the cross-examination that he said there was an omission in that letter, Hoffinger notes, and during direct that it was misleading and deceptive. What's omitted is the fact that it was paid for by Trump or the Trump Trust. And did you intend for it to mislead in that way? Prosecutor asked. I did, Conan says. Hoffinger reads a line from his attorney's letter to the FEC. The payment in question does not constitute campaign contribution. Was that not a true statement? Conan said. No, or Hoffinger asked Conan. No, ma'am, he says. Merchant instructs the jury that they can consider Conan's attorney's letter to the FEC in evaluating Conan's credibility. Mr. Conan, please, is not evidence of the defendant's guilt, and you may not consider it when determining Trump's innocent or guilt. Now pulling up the 2018 public statement Conan released explaining the Daniels payment. The letter ends saying, just because something isn't true doesn't mean it can't cause you harm or damage. I will always protect Mr. Trump. Asked if the statement is largely false, Conan says it was. Conan confirms it was misleading in the same way as the FEC letter by leaving out Trump and just saying the Trump campaign and the Trump organization. He again confirmed that he intended it to be misleading. Did Trump approve the substance of these false statements by you? Prosecutor Hoffinger asked Conan. Yes, ma'am. Under the circumstances of this NDA with Daniels that you testified, was it perfectly legal under those circumstances? No, he says. Conan confirmed he pled guilty to charges in 2018 on campaign finance violations related to the payments. Conan testified that the former president's trial is different from his own situation in 2018 because he said his life was on the line, my liberty, and here I'm just a non-party subpoenaed witness. Conan pled guilty to charges in 2018 on campaign finance violations related to Daniels' payment. Hoffinger asked, I know it may feel like you're on trial here after cross-examination, but are you actually on trial? Hoffinger asked. No, ma'am. Merchant objected or overruled an objection by Blanche. Conan again confirmed he never put together a retainer agreement for Trump when he left the Trump organization and became Trump's personal attorney because I never expected to get paid. Conan added, you're an employee, it's not necessary. So they're moving very quickly. They have to because, the cross-examination really destroyed his credibility. And I don't think they could do it anything. Hold on, let me finish this one here. Did $420K have anything to do with legal services in 2017? Hoffinger asked, no. When you submitted each of your 11 invoices to Trump, stating each was for services rendered pursuant to a retainer, was that true or false? Hoffinger asked, false. Again, this is all just on fucking Conan's word. There's no actual evidence proof that there was no retainer agreement because I think they covered this in Cross that you do not have to have a retainer agreement written down to enforce it or something like that. It kind of just needs to be an oral. So again, this is a he said, she said situation, and unfortunately for Conan, his credibility is shot to shit. No one's going to believe him. No one should believe him. Conan again said he never retained Costello, never paid him any money. I didn't like the way he kept invoking Giuliani, and my concern was anything I would say to him would go immediately back to Trump. Hoffinger entered into evidence a waiver Conan signed in 2019 with the Southern District of New York, saying he did not sign a retainer and did not believe his communications with Costello were subject to attorney-client privilege. Conan read the statement out in court. Hoffinger moved on to the text message, emails, audio recordings obtained from Conan's cell phone. She confirmed that he turned over his phones voluntarily and was advised all the material would be copied by prosecutors and turned over to the defense team. Hofger brought up Conan's fake AI cases in his briefing last year, asking whether he intended to mislead anyone doing by doing the Google Bard searches. No, he now explains he did what he did to generate the fake cases. After I just copied and pasted the first three because they were on the print, I sent them over to my attorney or my lawyer office to review and incorporate into the document. I was just trying to be helpful, he adds, noting he does not have access to Westlaw or LexisNexis. Conan says that his lawyer discovered the error and notified the court that the citations were inaccurate. Dismissed for lunch. Oh, okay. Let's see. So Hoffinger moves to discuss a call. Moved to discuss a call at 8:02 ET to Trump's former bodyguard Schuyler's phone, which was a big moment from Thursday during the defense's cross-examination. Hofger is seeking to admit into evidence a photo of Trump and Schuyler when Trump's attorney Blanche objected. The jury was excused to discuss the issue outside of their presence. Steinglass said there are two photos taken October 24th, 7:57, which showed that they were together. Blanche said he never asked or implied that Schuyler wasn't with Trump. What we argued and implied that the phone call was made was to Schuyler about a completely different topic than what was testified to on direct. It's a good argument. Like I don't remember him saying that they weren't together. He's just saying that you called Schuyler for a different reason altogether. They argued over whether the photos are admissible. Photos of prosecutors want to introduce as evidence is pulled from the C-SPAN archives of a rally from October 24th to 2016. Trump's attorney Blanche argued that the photos is inadmissible as evidence because prosecutors did not follow the rule of evidence by issuing a subpoena to C-SPAN as prosecutors did for other materials in trial. Steinglass says the photo shows that Trump's former bodyguard, Schuyler, and Trump walking off the stage around together at 7:57 ahead of 8:02 phone call in question. Who knows what they're going to say in their summation? We were entitled to establish, and I realize it's not wholly representative to what happened to on that phone call, Steinglass said. Blanche said the C-SPAN custodial didn't authenticate information on the website, only what was in the archive. Said a paralegal from the DA's office cannot properly authenticate the photos in testifying that they found the photos on the website. It seems neither here nor there because we all have Google, but the rule of evidence still applies, Blanche says. They should have brought the witness back. He added, suggesting that the prosecutors knew they were likely to introduce these photos into evidence. Steinglass says it's an exercise in futility to question the C-SPAN's custodial again, but says they could fly him out for a question or two to lay down proper foundation to admit the exhibits. That's not the way the rule of evidence works, Blanche argues. After the prosecution and defense argued and for and against admitting into evidence a photo of Trump and Schuyler, Merchant says he believes the photo is relevant, but is going to think about hearsay. So then they take their lunch break. So here's what they have to prove. Prove beyond a reasonable doubt that Trump falsified business records with the intent to commit or conceal another crime. But they don't have to prove that Trump committed that crime. Again, what crime did they commit initially? Like, what crime would he have tried to commit initially? Prosecutor's theory is that the second crime could be in violation of federal and state election law or state tax laws regarding how the reimbursement to Trump's ex-fixer and attorney Michael Cohen were handled. Okay, so they just need to allege that Trump was committing this crime and that he falsified business records to conceal it, either to commit or to conceal it. But Trump's never been charged with this crime. But even then, okay, like say, okay, all right, I get that. That that's why they brought up all that stuff. Not very important. I mean, again, not very important, but that's the theory: is he falsified these records for to commit or conceal another crime. But again, they have yet to actually prove that Trump did falsify the business records. All we got is Conan's word. All right, we're back. All right, Merchant says he reviewed the testimony of C-SPAN archivist during lunch break. Merchant is rereading the archivist testimony, including how C-SPAN verifies video is accurate and saves videos to C-SPAN archives. Merchant is not judge is not allowing the DA to bring in the photos as it is seeking to through a paralegal. I don't see how the people can't get past the hearsay objection, he says. Oh, okay, so because because they're trying to get the evidence through a paralegal from what the paralegal took and not the C-SPAN archivist, that's why the evidence is a hearsay objection. Because Steinglass says the prosecution may recall the C-SPAN archivist to testify. Merchant asked for a timeline. But again, Blanche is indicating that both prosecutor and defense may rest their case today. We have a few witnesses here. There's a likelihood that we'll rest today. So here we are on Monday, and they're about to rest, and they're asking, I guess, to see if this witness can come back. Blanche says, regarding the prosecution's request to call back an earlier witness, we very much object. Merchant judge said he wants to know why the defense witness wasn't sorted out sooner. It doesn't seem like Blanche is contesting the fact that they were together, so I don't understand why they're jumping through all these hoops. Oh, because you should do what's the law, not because. They're not really jumping through hoops. They didn't contest it, but what you're trying to do is trying to show that it has they're contesting it because you're not following the law. You want to get something in, you got to follow the rules. That's what they're doing. It seems like So I don't understand why they're jumping through all these hoops. They have the right to put us through the burden. They don't have to stipulate that Mr. Shiloh was with Trump at that day and time, though it doesn't sound like they're contesting that. Judge asks, what is the prejudice to the defense? Blanche says it's patently unfair. Merchant asks the prosecutor to determine whether a C-SPAN witness can be in the courtroom by 9:30 a.m. Tuesday. Prosecutor says they've reached out and are waiting to hear back. Merchant says we'll break for a few minutes to see if the DA's office can get a hold of Robert Browning, the C-SPAN archivist. Mangold, the prosecutor who told Merchant they were trying to contact Browning, had her phone out as she exited the courtroom. Again, the reason they're doing this, one, is just because, hey, you need to follow the rules of evidence. If you're not going to follow the rules of evidence, we're not going to fucking help you out. So fuck off. Basically what's going to be. Blanche says the trial has adjourned early several times because the prosecution hadn't had a witness ready. That's not the way trials are supposed to work, he says. Okay. Judge said okay, smiles and says okay. Okay, people, what did we find out? Judge asked, referring to the short break. Mangold said C-SPAN is preparing to book travel for Robert Browning, the C-SPAN archivist, so he testified about the photo of Trump and his bodyguard, Shiler. So this is going to end up being called a rebuttal witness. Judge told attorneys Blanche, it's up to him whether to proceed with his case this afternoon or wait until tomorrow until after the archivist is recalled. Yeah. Trump strategy to force prosecutors to take a tedious approach to enter evidence. Yeah, they just want them to follow the rules. Two sides found a way to avoid recalling the C-SPAN archivist. We may be able to short circuit this process. Steinglass says. He said the photo will come in with Mr. Cohen, referring to the prosecution witness. We will not call a paralegal, and we will agree to the following stipulation. They will show the photo and tell the juries the photo exhibit, the People's Exhibit 417B is a still photo taken from an end of the video, which concludes at 7:57 on October 24, 2016. All right, so everyone's back together. Steinglass indicated the jury will hear the stipulation, and then prosecutor Hoffinger will ask Cohen to confirm on the stand that Trump's former bodyguard Schuyler is in the photo. And that's what they do. Conan identifies Schuyler and Trump in the 2016 photo about the alleged key phone call. Parties have agreed that photos exist. It's a still photo. Conan says he recalls speaking with Trump more than 20 times in October 2016 about Daniels. When asked, Conan says records help refresh my memory about when he spoke to Trump about the matter. Again, you're going to have to believe him on that. Conan went through a series of questions asking if Conan had any doubts that Trump told him to work it out with Weisselberg, and that Trump gave him approval to make the payment to Daniels. No doubt. Would you have paid Daniels the $130K had Trump not signed off on your ass? No, ma'am. Again, you're just going to have to believe him. Again, there's no evidence. There's an issue with audio. All right. There's another. So they're black and playing the audio. Hoffinger is now playing a recording of a conversation between Davidson and Conan. They stopped recording because transcript was supposed to be on screen. He did not. They play again. Key line in the audio recording of the conversation. So I can't even say how many times he said to me, I hate the fact that we did it. My comment to him was, every person that we've spoken to tells you it's the right move. When asked to explain that line, Conan says, I was referring to the payment to Davidson that I made on behalf of Mr. Trump for the Daniels matter of the non-disclosure agreement. Hoffinger asked Conan to confirm who he was in this line from the conversation between himself and Davidson. Mr. Trump, Conan says. All right, and then there's recross. So Blanche is back on for a recross. Blanche is asking Conan about his life being turned upside down. Blanche asks, you lost your law license. Is that Mr. Trump's fault? In part, Conan says. Blanche asks whether Trump had anything to do with the tax crimes and false statements Conan made to the bank. No, sir, Conan said. Blanche confirms that if you are convicted of any felony, you'll automatically lose your law license in New York. But Conan still blames Trump for the loss, for losing his. Correct, Conan confirms. Conan says he blamed Trump in part because of the totality of the crimes he was convicted of, including the campaign finance violations. Didn't force you to lie. Blanche, in return, is returning to the photo of Trump's and his bodyguard Schuyler on October 24th, 2016. The prosecution entered into evidence. Your testimony is still, just so I understand, in the 90 seconds you spoke with Mr. Schuyler about the problem you were having with the 14-year-old, got him to agree to take care of it, told him you would send him the number, which you did, but also had the time that for Mr. Schuyler to pass the phone to Trump and update him on everything going on. Yes, sir, Conan says. See, does that sound believable? 90 seconds. So in a minute and 30 seconds, he was able to have this conversation with Schuyler, okay, about 14-year-old, explain everything that's going on. Schuyler agrees to take care of it. He would send him the number, and then he'd also pass him on along to update Stormy Daniels. That sounds like a lot longer than a minute and a half. Or minute 30 seconds. Yeah, minute and a half. Okay. I guess that was it. So that's the end. Prosecutors rested its case, capping off the weeks of trial that could result in a historical conviction against a former president. So they called 20 witnesses. All right, so their defense has done their first witness is Daniel Sitko, a paralegal in Blanche's law firm. Blanche is questioning him. You work for me, Blanche asks. I do, Sitko says. Sitko has been in court every day and is generally the one who looks at huge binders of materials to the defense table. That's hilarious. Wait, why the fuck did they call him then? Okay. I don't know why they called him. Fucking CNN. You just like, oh, they called this guy. Okay, but why? All right, so defense has called Bob Costello, an attorney connected with Conan, to the stand. Costello has been brought up numerous times. Okay, this is just a background. Okay, why is it going back and forth? Oh, that's okay. So that's the next witness. Okay, whatever. All right. Sitko says he created a summary charts of phone calls. He says he built the summary for one of the prosecution's exhibits, a call log for one of Conan's phones involving Robert Costello. The records show that there were 75 calls between Conan and Costello, answered and unanswered, in April, May, and June of 2018. Lange asked Sitko to highlight a 96-minute phone call, 96-minute call on May 27th of 2018, the Sunday before Memorial Day. Lange direct questioning. So that's over. There's Mangold is doing cross exam. She confirms Sitko there's no way to tell who was on the call, listed from the general lines of David, Utcher, and Citron. Let's see. So now they call. So they wrapped up with Sitko, and Costello is being called. Do wish we had discussed this earlier. So they're talking. I don't know. They gotta have some conversation about Costello. Prosecutors are seeking to restrict the questioning of Costello, a lawyer who once advised Conan. Hoffinger says they should be restricted to two questions, frankly, that Conan testified he didn't recall. He didn't recall Costello telling him that he should cooperate against Trump. He didn't recall the words saying that he said to Mr. Costello that he had nothing on Trump. Hoffinger added, okay, so they don't want him to be able to be asked these two questions. Hoffinger added that Conan testified he didn't tell Costello the truth because he thought it would get back to Rudy Giuliani and Trump. Bove says that Costello is being called to rebut the prosecution's argument about a supposed pressure campaign from Trump. Bove also says Trump's legal team let the prosecution know they were likely to put Costello on the stand days ago. From the initial meeting, Bove says Costello's recollection is different from Conan's. Costello recalls Conan saying President Trump did not know about the payments to Stephanie Daniels. And that's extremely probative of the court issue in this case, Bove says. Judge asks, well, you don't think the whole pressure campaign theory is collateral? Bove says, not at all. The whole purpose of this was to make Trump sound threatening, Bove says. Merchant says he disagreed. That was the purpose. Yes, it was. I can agree. I disagree that Mr. Costello can testify about Conan's state of mind. I'll consider some of your other arguments, but I'll disagree to that. I agree with that. I agree that Costello can't say to Conan's state of mind. Because there's no way you can't testify to someone else's state of mind unless they told you their state of mind. You know, they literally told you their state of mind. So back on the bench. Merchant rules that Bove can't ask Costello as to two prior inconsistent statements. In addition, says, I'll give you some latitude to explore the pressure campaign so you can elicit some inconsistencies and offer some rebuttal. Merchant asks, I'm not going to allow this trial to become a trial within a trial. As to whether there was, in fact, a pressure campaign and how it affected Conan, it's not the perfect trial and don't want it to become that. I can agree with that. Costello was sworn in. Yeah, you don't want a trial within a trial or any of that crap. Costello says he met with Conan at the Regency Hotel on April 17th of 2018. Costello says he was accompanied by Catron, one of his partners at the meeting. Conan was an absolute maniac throughout the 2-hour meeting. Conan says he kept on pacing back and forth, left to right, Conan says, while he and his law partner were seated there. Costello, one shakes his head as if exasperated when judge sustains a question from the prosecution. from the an objection from the prosecution about one of his answers. Costello is testifying about the meeting with Conan in April 2018, explaining to him that his legal issues would be resolved if he had truthful information on Trump and cooperated with the South District of New York. Costello said at the meeting, Conan told him, I really want you to explain to me what my options are. What's my escape route? That's the phrase he used. Costello went on to say that Conan said 10 to 12 times during the meeting, I swear to God, Bob, I don't have anything on Trump. Bob asked Conan about what Conan said about Trump's family at the meeting at the Regency Hotel. On April 17th of 2018, Merchant sustains an objection from Hoffinger, one of his several already sustained. Merchant tells the lawyers to approach the bench. Ridiculous, Costello says on the mic, while attorneys are. That's dumb. Costello testified, Conan said numerous times that President Trump knew nothing about those payments, that he did it on his own. He repeated that numerous times. Was Rudy Giuliani discussed at the meeting? Bove asked. Merchant then overruled an objection from Hoffinger. Costello said his name came up very briefly. There's Costello's not doing very. There's another objection to defense question from Costello, which is sustained by the judge. Costello lets out a Jesus. Merchant leaned forward and says to Costello, sorry. This dude needs to keep himself handled. The jury is seeing an email brought up earlier during Conan's testimony. Costello testified that Conan asked him to reach out to Giuliani on his behalf about the issue. He told me I was authorized to tell Giuliani that my firm was quote on the team. That's the phrase he used, but that he wasn't going to announce it publicly. Merchant has asked to take a minute until the jury step out. Mr. Costello, you're to remain seated. The judge is a witness in response. After another sustained objection, witness Costello rolled his eye and let out an audible sigh. I want to discuss proper decorum in my courtroom. Merchant also said, you don't give me a side eye, you don't roll your eyes. When there's a witness on the stand, if you don't like my ruling, you don't say geez, you don't say strike it. Merchant says. Then Costello held a long glare at the judge. Are you staring me down? Merchant said. Then Merchant said, clear the courtroom. Oh man. All right, Costello. You need to fucking keep your not a good look for Costello. Bove has resumed his questions about Costello. There's no discussion what just transpired. Let's see. Bove, who asked Costello to keep his answers narrow, a question about the lengthy phone call with Conan on Memorial Day weekend in 2018. He asked Costello if he gave legal advice on the 96-minute call without getting into details. Yes, Costello says. Both showed the jury an email from June 7th of 2018 and phone records. The call lasted 46 minutes. The email from Costello says that after you called me back, I left a message for Rudy. Costello testified about after reading the email that Conan directed him to call Giuliani on his behalf. Mr. Conan was making constant complaints about Rudy Giuliani and what he was saying to the press. As he began to say, Conan was also complaining about his lawyers not being paid by Trump. At this point in 2018, Judge sustained an objection from Hoffinger. Merchant then cautioned Costello again to answer only the question he's asked. Again, please just answer the question, Merchant said. Did you ever put any pressure on Conan to do anything? Bove asked. No. Costello said. Did you ever pressure him to interact with Rudy in a certain way? Giuliani in a certain way? Bove asked. No, Costello said. Bove asked Costello if he considered Conan his client. Absolutely, I had to treat him that way. Costello also said that the firm had sought payment from Conan for his services. So, okay, so now that's the end. So, Cross. Hovinger is asking for the initial contact with Conan and if Robert, Costello's partner, reached out to Conan. Costello responds twice. The email speaks for itself. So Costello reviewed email strings between his partner Citron and Conan. He is CC'd on the chain. Hovinger asked if he was hoping to represent Conan. Costello responds, "I wasn't hoping anything. It wasn't my email." Costello says it arose from his partner's long-term relationship with Conan. "I didn't know Conan from a hole in the wall." Hovinger asked, "So you weren't hoping to represent Conan?" "No, I wasn't." Costello says he met with Conan because Jeff made an arrangement with Conan, and he asked me to come along because Citron was primarily a real estate lawyer. Conan says. Hovinger asked if this was a high-profile case for him. Probably yes, Costello responds. Giuliani wasn't in the picture at all at the time that he met with Conan, Costello said. Hovinger pushed Costello to say Conan would be a big get for his firm at the time. Costello, after a pause, said, I would say no, I didn't want him as a client. Hovinger challenged Costello, saying he would have been happy to announce Conan as client. Email records show on email shows on April 20th. Costello sent an email to his son about representing Conan. Costello's son responded to the email congratulating him. Costello testified that the quote in his email to his son was a statement Conan intended to release at the time, pushing back on the notion he personally held any excitement about representing Conan. Okay, so what he's saying is Conan said he was going to announce it. He was intending to announce it, so he was just letting his son know about it, and his son was saying congratulations. Costello asked Hovinger to speak into the microphone, please. Hovinger went on to ask if Costello can be empathetic to someone whose apartment has been raided, given his experience as a defense lawyer. Costello said yes. Let's see. So Hovinger asked Costello about his impression of the meeting with Conan at the Regency Hotel in 2018. You thought he was being a drama queen, didn't you? No, I've never met Conan before, and he was putting on quite a show. Costello says Conan explained to him that 2 nights earlier he was on the roof of the hotel and was going to jump off and kill himself because he couldn't handle the pressure of the ongoing criminal case again coming his way. Sure. Hovinger replies sarcastically, "You just don't like drama queens," Hovinger says. "I just didn't know. I didn't know the guy," Costello says. Judge asks the attorneys to approach the bench. Hovinger says she has about half an hour, possibly 45, left in her cross-examination. Hovinger asked the judge to instruct Costello not to talk, I'm assuming to the media. The judge said he doesn't generally give that instruction. Costello walked out of the courtroom. Bo says he will have redirect of Costello tomorrow, but doesn't expect it to be long. Defense also does not expect to call any witness after Costello. So this is saying that Trump's no longer going to grant the motion to dismiss, or sorry, call Trump to testify, which they really don't have to. Blanche is asking for a dismissal of the charges. Blanche is arguing the prosecution did not prove their case against Trump. I'm sorry. This is routine. It's typical practice after the prosecution rests, as defendants will move to dismiss the case. He can grant the motion to dismiss or a particular count on the grounds that evidence is not legally sufficient to establish a defense charge or any lesser including offense. Can deny the motion or can reserve a decision until after the verdict has been rendered by the jury. All right, Blanche is now going through his arguments. Here's what he's saying. He says when Trump signed the check of Conan uh, in the White House mail from Trump Tower in New York, there's no evidence there was any idea or any attempt to mislead or to hide or to falsify the business documents. Blanche also argues there's no evidence of another crime being covered up in connection to the false business filings. There's no evidence, zero, that anyone was thinking about a campaign finance charge in 2016 when the payment was made to Ms. Daniels, he says. There's no evidence that Mr. Pecker, Mr. Conant, Trump, Howard, or any of the other purported co-conspirators had any criminal intent at the time they were engaging in this conduct. Blanche says, recapping the 2015 plan to point out positive stories about Trump and negative stories about his opponent in American Media Inc. publications. As the defense makes its case for dismissal charges, judge jumps in to ask, so you're asking me to find Conan not credible as a matter of law? Yes, Blanche says. Okay, Merchant says, you want me to take it out of the jury's hands and decide before it even gets to the jury that as a matter of law, this person is not worthy of believing. We didn't just catch him in a lie, Your Honor. He came in here with a history of lies. Blanche says, I don't think this is a good argument. He testified and lied under oath in the courtroom. The consequences of that lie, if accepted by the jury, is a conviction. Merchant is skeptical. You said his lies are irrefutable, but you think he's going to fool 12 New Yorkers. I don't think that he would fool 12 New Yorkers, but he would, you'd have 12 New Yorkers that are willing to ignore that and charge Trump regardless. I think another thing is, I should point it out also, that it's only Conan. The prosecution only brought forth Conan saying that there was no retainer agreement. There was no or anything of the fact, and that this was all for the repayment of Daniels. This is all on Conan's word. There's no other evidence beside that. Colangelo is now up for the prosecution, arguing that several documents corroborate Conan's testimony, namely the records brought in through McConney memorialized the reimbursement plan. At a minimum, a reasonable jury could conclude the invoice and ledger entries and the signed documents with check stubs all contained false information. So the prosecution now says there's also an overwhelming record of concealment that supports an intent to defraud on Trump's part. No. All McConney did was bring in the records. That's all he did. That doesn't prove that what Conan is saying is true. It's just saying these are the records. Like, that's all McConney did. These are the records. I agree. These are the records. This is what we wrote for. But there's no proof that there was no retainer agreement. Whatever. Burton says he will reserve his decision on the defense arguments for dismissal of the charges. So basically, he's going to wait till the jury decides. Thank you both. As I said, I'm going to reserve my decision. I will see you at 9:30 tomorrow. So it looks like Costello made himself look like a fool. I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, so it looks like we'll go on to tomorrow, and as long as nothing really happens, there is no something else they can really do. Yeah, I don't. These charges should be dismissed because the only evidence they have of any of this is really, like, they have the records themselves, of course, but then after that, all they got is Conan saying that this was it. I'm sorry, but yeah, I don't understand this at all. It makes no sense. Like, these charges should be dismissed because all they really got to confirm, like, to prove their case. They got the records, okay, but then after that, all it is Conan saying no, there was no retainer agreement. That's what they said. Because remember, it's prosecution's duty to prove beyond reasonable doubt. If all you got is someone with a shoddy credibility, and really, what can you do? Like, that's all they got is Conan saying, no, these aren't, there's nothing else. They don't got someone, they didn't call Weiselberg. They could have called Weiselberg. They never did. Now, Weiselberg, the argument would have been Weiselberg would have pled the fifth and have been useless to point to call him. He may very well, but they didn't even attempt get him in a courtroom, as far as I know, to do a private, thing and say, "Are you going to plead the fifth?" Yes, then okay. But they didn't call Weiselberg. They didn't, they can't call Trump. Trump has to be the one there. But again, it's all their case hinges on is Conan saying this. But do you believe Conan? Don't think you can. And then there's the whole, there's been a whole controversy of, oh, Trump said he was going to testify, but now he's not. Well, that's because Trump doesn't have to testify. He said he was going to testify when he thought the prosecution had a better case, and he would have to be able to, say his side. But when all the prosecution case rate hinges on is Conan saying X, I mean, is that really an option? I mean, is that really a good case? Like, why would you testify then? Why would you go on and testify if all the prosecution has is Conan said X or Conan says so? That's all the prosecution's thing lays on is Conan says this. So I mean, it doesn't really seem like Trump needs to testify. Anyway, that's the end of it. We'll see. It looks like defense is gonna wrap it up tomorrow. And then after that, we may have a rebuttal from the prosecution. Who knows? So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Well, today. So we'll see. Looks like it may wrap up today. We don't know. Hope you all have a good day. Peace out. I'll see you later.